Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be doing a special project that I've been wanting to do for a long time. You can see here the nav station on a Lagoon 450. First of all, maybe some of you will notice it's been completely modified. All the wood around the windows has been completely removed. New countertop, and the nav station has been cut in half. This is all wood that I've recuperated from other projects on the boat, and it does not look good. It's just doesn't look right. There's a lot of kinks and stuff on it, and then you got the screw heads on top. Today we're going to be laminating, removing this box and then laminating the whole thing. So it's just a matter of disconnecting everything. All these connections, you can see I had not fixed anything permanently when I set everything up, because I knew that I was gonna change this since I never liked it. So you should take a picture of all this before doing this so that you remember what goes where. Because I've just put it in, I actually do remember where everything goes. So here we have a piece of laminate, very high gloss finish, all white. You can see it's very dirty. It was stored in the build on the storage compartment all the way in the front, and there was a bit of water in there. It got properly soaked. Just gonna take off the vinyl on top of it, try to see if I can clean it up properly. I'm just gonna be using alcohol on this. Taking off the protection film on the dirtiest part. Now we'll see if we salvage it. I've already cleaned off the bottom part. Going to be using the main big section here, and that's about it. The laminate came out pretty good. We cleaned the bottom part, also cleaned the top. It's good enough, no scratches, no nothing. We'll do final cleaning after it's installed, and now I'm going to take some measurements. So I'm going to pre-cut the laminate. It's going to be one panel on the top, one on each side, and then it's actually two panel on the front, because one panel is going to be full size on top of the edge. I want all that to be one part. One panel for this door, one panel for this door. And every panel, the way I cut the laminate, I always leave about ½ an inch or more on each edge. So as you can see, I'm a highly skilled draftsman. Okay, so now I'm marking all these. My super straight ruler. On each piece, we will have a ½ inch overhang. It doesn't have to be very precise at this point. So the pre-cutting is really not hard. Basically what I'm doing, I'm using an old piece of wood underneath. Obviously you don't want to cut the gel coat. And then I'm using side cutter with a straight blade. I'm just going to go over this line. It doesn't matter again if it's not precise. Okay, now we're going to remove all the accessories off the box. So now we do have a little bit of prep to do on this. You might not be able to see it on the camera. We got an edge here, so that won't stick properly to the top part when I laminate it. We're gonna try and use the orbital with a 120 grit. Bring it down just a little bit so that it becomes even. And I'm gonna use the 120 everywhere where we're gonna be putting laminate on it so that we get a proper adhesion with the glue. One thing you wanna note when you're doing lamination, this box is going into the nav station. It's gonna be in this angle approximately. So what do you see first is the front part. What you wanna do is laminate parts that you don't see as much, like top part and side first, so that the edge of the laminate won't be apparent, because you're going to finish off with the front part. Once you do the front part, you're gonna actually hide the laminate edge from the top part and the side part. Also, usually you should be doing the edges. We're not gonna do the edges on these because then I would have to actually make them shorter because they are already a tight fit. We'll probably end up painting them. I have a special paint for this. It only shows when you open it, and these you practically never open. Is cleaning off all the surfaces that you're going to be laminating. You don't want any imperfection, any bumps in there, because once you put the laminate on, it will show. Especially like the laminate we're using is white and it's high gloss. Okay, so a little bit of cleaning on the laminate too, since they were storage and there was a little bit of water damage all over. Make sure we get that smooth surface. So for gluing, what we're using is just regular contact cement. Just roll it on. Using a regular roller, whatever you have, you could use a paintbrush, it's not a problem. Just make sure you got glue everywhere. That's it. A nice thin coat is all you need. So that's it for the glue. Now what we do, we just let it dry until it's tacky. You don't want it super dry, but you want it like, so when you touch it, it's not coming up, but it's just a little bit tacky, and that's ready to glue together. So I've just made a huge mistake. I put glue on all the surfaces, but first I gotta laminate the two edges because that's the stuff that we're gonna see less. So basically I'm doing the two edges first, and then the laminate will overhang. Then you gotta router the edges, and what's that gonna do is it's gonna make a mess on the glue that I've already put in. So I should have done the two sides with glue, then glued it, then router it, and then glue the top, put it on, router everywhere, and then do the front with glue. Basically gonna happen is that I'm gonna have to clean the whole thing up after doing the router. So I just multiplied the work by probably 5. It's no big deal because alcohol will clean it up nice, and then we'll just put another layer of glue wherever it's needed. So for the edges, I'm gonna be using a router bit with a bearing on the edge. Basically we're just gonna go around the edge. I'm using a small one, not small enough. I do have a smaller one. So we're gonna make sure that we go by. Yeah, it won't go by. I actually have to remove all the hinges. So it's actually too high here. I'm gonna have to do it by hand. So now we can use pretty much any bit that has bearing on the bottom. You don't actually need bearing on the bit to do this job. There are some bits that are made especially for routing laminate. No bearing, they just go around the edge, but I actually don't have any of those. I had some, but they're all dead. I've been doing a lot of laminating. Okay, next step, just stick it on. Make sure that you got an overhang all around, and you just put it on. Once that's on, you don't get a second chance. It is stuck there. You can remove it, but you'll break it. So now what you want to do is use this hard roller, very hard to do by myself, and hold the thing at the same time. But what you want to do is just roll it out so that if there's any air bubbles, they're going to come out. So basically when you're doing floors or big surfaces, what you want to do is hold your whole roller like this, and you're putting actually your whole weight on it. Start from the middle and go outside if you're laminating a big surface, and that will pull out or push out any air bubble. So that's it for the sides. Now we're gonna router the sides. Okay, so now we're gonna use the router and mess up all the glue, of course. What I'm doing basically is just using the flat surface on this side. So flat surface, and then the bearing is gonna be touching all the way around. As you can see, it's a very, very messy job. And actually the glue's not bad at all. Pieces are coming off. I think we'll be good. Just retouch the edges here and that's it. So the edges are actually quite decent because the glue had plenty of time to dry. We actually don't have too much on there. So let's put on the top part. You don't get a second chance, so you gotta do this. You gotta make sure it's overhang all over. All right. Okay, and this is where you use this one properly. Basically what we want is no bubbles, so you'll actually feel it or hear it going click, 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 click. As long as it clicks, it means there's an air bubble underneath that you gotta push out. So any clicks you're getting, just keep going over it. Got to be careful when you go over the edge. When you go over the edge, if you push down like this, it's gonna break it. It usually breaks off past the edge, so that won't show. But sometimes it does. If it breaks short, you might see it. See, now I've broken 2 edges, and we'll see if we see it in the end. So ready the router. Step is the facade, so it's just an edge, but it's going to be one piece. So we're going to be cutting it all around the outside and then on the inside. But what you want is not have any new laminate sticking out. Like here, we got a bump in it because of the glue. So you can take a 1/4 round file, a very fine one, and just fix the edge. Okay, so 2 holes. So obviously didn't need 2 holes. That's all done, all nice and smooth. Just the corners now have the radius of the router bit. For that, we're just gonna use the file again and break down the corners. I'll show you that a bit later on the table. So I've laminated these 2 off camera. As you can see, there's holes that we need to make so that the router is gonna go in different places. Took off the other bit I had that was way too big, and I'm just gonna use a drill which is big enough for the router bit to go in. I'm just gonna drill it from the underside. When you do this, you want to use a scrap piece of wood, because when you're drilling, if there's nothing underneath, it's just gonna shatter and open up and break, and it will probably go bigger than the hole itself that you need. Yeah, I've done it a few times, so now I always put some scrap wood underneath. Yeah, so that's it. That's all you need. so final step with the file. What you want to do is never pull the file up. Be careful in the corners. You want to always push it down so that you don't unglue the laminate. So you just want to, with the edge of the file, go into the corner on both sides. Always in one direction, going down basically. And then do the whole surface. What you want is not to have a live edge, so you just basically give it a bit of an angle, because otherwise you can cut your hand on it. And I put it the right way up, so that's a good thing. And this, of course, I put upside down. Right side up. Nope. Now it is. Oh my God, this is already looking so much better. All right, guys, so there you have it, finished product, the new nav station. Overall, I think it's a great success. I will put some pictures of the original nav station when we first bought the boat, and then as you saw it when I did shortening of the box, I'll put some pictures of that. And now you have the finished product. Let me know if you think it's better than it was, and we'll see you soon with a new video.